I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. You guys, I got an incredible show for you. I have got a really great guest on tonight. Her name is Cenia, and I think I said that right. We said it a couple times before we started, but I got her in the lobby right now. You guys, she's had some pretty crazy encounters. Bigfoot, Dogman, UFO. And she's from the great state of Massachusetts. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for all your support you guys show the show. Remember, you can become a member of my podcast, The Cryptid Crew. The membership is $2.99 a month. And what's going on right now is there's a few more days. There's 4 more days left in this giveaway. And if you join for $2.99, you'll be entered for a drawing of this hat. Again, $2.99. And then shortly after it's over, because it ends on the 10th, I'll get everybody's names assigned a number, put them in a randomizer, and whoever number gets picked wins the hat. But without further ado, let's bring our amazing guest on tonight. Everybody, let's welcome her to the show. Did I say it right the first?
You did. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, right?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a really good you gave me just a little bit of background, and again, it's a pleasure to have you on. Josh definitely said you got to have her on, and he sent me the info when I reached out to you. So, so about how far back do these go? About how old were you?
With Bigfoot or Dogman?
Just in general, Dogman, Bigfoot,
Okay.
UFO.
Just about as far as the age of 17.
Okay.
UFOs kind of have been in my life for many years, couple of decades.
Oh, okay.
But they were not as active as they have been in this particular place.
Okay.
As for Dogman, that was in my later teens, and Bigfoot being my most recent one just a couple of months ago.
Okay. So before I put the camera on you and give you the show, tell your stories, what was your interaction or knowledge with these type of cryptids? Like,
originally, when I was a teenager, I knew nothing about them. I'm Christian, and there was never any talk about them. I never heard about these half hybrid creatures that seem like they're half human, half something else. There really wasn't anything until my late 20s.
okay. All right. Well, you know what? I'm just going to let you get into your stories. I can't wait to hear them.
Great. So, my recent encounter with Bigfoot started, well, we can just backtrack back to a couple of years ago. I had had a UFO encounter, so I attributed everything that was going on with what I believe now to be Bigfoot to UFO. You know, sounds in the woods, vocalizations. I had heard like videos of what Bigfoot sounded like, and they didn't sound like the things I had heard in the woods. They kind of sounded like a wispy, like siren sound, and I can send you the video of that so that you can check it out. All of these sounds, all of these, I also saw orb go through my woods in the back. All over the past couple of years, it started with sounds, and then it continued to get more intense with not just bipedal footsteps, but the siren sounds, and then seeing kind of what looked like shadows in the woods and not being sure what I was seeing, until finally I had my Bigfoot encounter in December. The sounds that I had recorded happened in May of 2024. And then we had smells. We show up, my son and I go out one night. And we smell a very pungent type of like carcass smell with trash, like sweetness, and old sitting oil. All of those smells all together. And I have a reason for pinpointing it like that. And it's because I was literally following the smell until I came up onto my deck, and I'm still sensing it like behind my deck where we have a lot of overgrowth. And then it's getting darker and darker. And I just my son ran up the stairs. He immediately knew something was up, and he booked it up the stairs when he smelled it as soon as we got back home. And I felt the same. I felt like I needed to run. And I make it up the stairs finally after kind of sniffing it out in the yard and then going up the steps. And the smell disappears altogether. Just it kind of like moves away from me. Now, that smell happened a few months before our actual sighting. Our sighting occurred on December, I believe it was 9th of 2024. Just a few months ago. I'm home. I'm talking on the phone with my sister. I am cooking, and my son is taking out the trash. When he goes to bring down the trash, he senses something watching him. And as he's even making it down the trash to the trash bin, he claims he felt anxious already. And which is something that he didn't fear before. He just went down there and would put it in the trash bin and come back up, and sometimes even ask if he could stay outside. But on this particular day, I'd like to point out that, because I think it's really interesting, the weather was also misty and foggy, kind of. It was a gray day. December was weird for us this year. We didn't really have cold weather, which typically around this time of the year, it's at least 40 or below. And on this particular day, I remember it being somewhat hot, like warmer than usual. And my son is heading back up the stairs, but before he came up, he says that when he was putting the trash in the bin, he felt the hair on the back of his neck go up. So he turned and looked straight into the woods, where he just felt compelled to look, and he saw nothing. He continues to come up. He goes up our steps, and he's about halfway up when he has the compulsion to look again. And when he looks this time, he looks to his right, he looks into the woods, and there he sees a very large, what we like to say now is Bigfoot. He books it up the stairs. He rattled me. I'm on the phone with my sister. I'm cooking, and I hear him just running, and I feel the house shake from how hard he's coming into my house. He makes it through the door, and he's screaming. He was already screaming before he made it through the door. And when he runs in, he's like, Mom, there's a man, there's something. It was looking at me. It's like at the edge of the woods. Like, it's in our backyard. Go. And he was not making any sense. What I assumed it was a man trying to scare my son or something, or a person watching my son, something that was just as sinister to me. So my mama bear instinct was, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show this person, like, you don't come around my yard. And when I am walking out, before I even make it out the doorway, he left the door wide open so I can see clear through to that specific area where the line of, like, the wood line is. And as I'm walking through my mudroom, I look straight at it, and it's this big, huge mass. Like, I could see his shoulders, his back area, like he was turning around. So he was turning and leaving when I was coming out. And that's also something that I've thought about. I think, could it be he felt I was my child's defender, and it was not that I could ever intimidate a Bigfoot, but maybe it's like, okay, it's time to get out of Dodge, you know? So when I walked out, I see him and he's turning, and it was so large. He's so black. The definition of the muscle, you could see it even from afar. So you know this thing is huge. Where if it was a normal person, this has to be, gosh, I don't know measurements very well, but I'm assuming it's over 50 feet away. And I'm looking at this thing and I know it's ginormous. So I see this Bigfoot and he's walking away. And when he walked back, like kind of onto the woods, there's a climbing kind of a hill type with a lot of overgrowth. And then there's the trees and just very overgrown woods. And he makes it up there like nothing. I've tried getting up there. I can't walk through all of the mess that there is of overgrowth. And he just walked right through and he disappeared out of my sight like that. My first instinct, my brain was screaming, this isn't human. So I'm on the phone still and I'm just telling my sister, what I just saw is not human. What I just saw is not human. I kept repeating it over and over again. And she hears my son screaming, so she knows kind of what's going on, and she says, did you just see Bigfoot? And I didn't want to say yes. I didn't want to. My mind didn't want to agree with what she was saying because it was too scary, the thought, to say it out loud. But I just said, I don't know. What I saw was not human. I think so. I don't know. What I saw was not human. I just kept repeating it. And I said it was so big and it's so dark. And so when I asked my son what he had seen because I asked him, what does it look like? What did you see? What does it look like from the front? He said this thing was standing at the edge of the tree line, just outside of it, staring directly at him, hands at its sides, straight down. I think the palms were just like that, not, out or anything, just down, looking straight at my son. And it was all black. There was no color differentiation. Like it was all just top of the head to the bottom, black. Everything was black. Very frightening for him. I've never heard my son this afraid in his life. So I make it back into my living room, walk over to the kitchen where I can see clearly in my backyard, and I keep looking out the window, thinking I might see it again. I'm panicking. I'm afraid. I don't know what this thing wants with my son. It's all very truly traumatic, but it was all very, there's nothing you can do. There's nobody you can call. That kind of situation. It's lock your doors. You're kind of on your own if something were to happen right now. So I'm panicking and I need to know that this thing isn't coming any closer, as I had closed the door, and maybe I don't know what it could be thinking. I don't know what anybody else would do in this situation or how they would feel. But when you see something like this and the size of something like this, your first thought is complete panic and complete utter fear of what they can do to you and what they want with either you or the person you love, who I felt was kind of the not target because he didn't do anything to him, but wondering what would he do if he was. And I'm in my kitchen looking out the window, and as I'm looking out there, unbelievable. I am looking out into the woods and I see where there's two distinct thick like trees. Another one run from one tree to another super fast too, just like a couple of steps and he was behind it. This one I saw from top to bottom. I even saw like down to his feet. When it's running, I could see everything. Very agile type, lanky, nothing like the other one. which is really surprising. I assumed that they all kind of looked the same. You've seen pictures of them, you've seen, these videos and everything, and they all kind of look similar. And it's just this burly, hairy, tuft Bigfoot. But this one was much smaller. This one was lanky, not that muscle definition. The browns had different colorations to them. Like there were some spots that were much darker and others were lighter. And its face was much lighter than the brown. I'm not sure that I have a color it's almost like a dark beige going on brown. And that was our Bigfoot encounter. We were terrified after. We've had nightmares since then. I had nightmares before. And I suspected that there's something out there, but I had no idea truly that it was Bigfoot, because it's not something you hear about often here in Massachusetts. You hear it, but not. This is the kind of thing people laugh about. I tell everybody at work that I've encountered, not everybody at work, but I've asked people, do you believe in Bigfoot? Just to gauge them, to see if I can open a conversation about it. And they all laugh. And that's okay. I don't really care. But the point is, people around here don't believe in it unless they've experienced it. Those noises that I had heard and recorded, I believe might be a juvenile Bigfoot, which when I had contacted the BFRO, they agreed, like they told me that they thought it was a juvenile Bigfoot. Mind you, all of this time I thought this was the UFO because of the way it sounded. Because when you hear Bigfoot recordings online, just like random ones you catch online, it's always these very guttural, loud screams or these whoops that sound very particular. But now I know better. And when you know what it is, now I hear it and I understand it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. In the recording, my son and I were at the end of the deck. He's hearing sounds when we're coming home from like eating dinner or bringing home like dinner. And it's about 4:00 in the afternoon. And when we're going up the steps, he's hearing stuff. And the sounds that he's hearing, I'm kind of just, when you're a parent, it's a constant rush in life. You're just not even paying attention to your surroundings. You're going up the steps, your feet are clomping on the steps and you're loud. And, I have bags in my hand. And so I wasn't even paying attention to it, but he mentions it. And I'm like, you're right. That is really bizarre. What is that sound? And it's coming from our backwoods. So I'm at the end of the deck listening and he goes, Mom, record it. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. What? So I start recording and that's what you get. These siren type long trill sound. I'm shocked as I'm listening to it. And I say something to my son. I cursed. I'm sorry. I apologize. I said, what the F is that? And we're silent and something tells me, say something back. For some reason, I felt compelled to say hello. And when I did that, a few seconds after, it reciprocates and says, and makes a vocalization that if you listen very carefully, sounds like it's like, oh, like hello back. So all of this time we assumed it was UFO and everything because we've had experiences with UFO here as well. And now come to find out it was Bigfoot all along. So as for the UFO encounters, this had been going on for quite some time, and it's died down a lot since Bigfoot, actually. The orb thing I had seen, there was this big yellow orb that I had seen in my backwoods go from one side to the other and just disappear going down just further into the woods. And it was this big ball that was yellow and darker yellow in some spots with like, I'm not sure how to describe it. There's almost like that, like kind of lava effect where you have a very bright color and then you have lighter colors on the inside in different spots. That's what that orb was, like just going down the woods. Now, that was an orb encounter. I was alone. It was late at night. I was just out there. I love being outside. I think this is why I've experienced so many things and seen so many things. We have a very big sky. My back deck is my favorite place to be. I love nature. I love going out into the woods. And actually the woods that are behind my house have trails. And I've taken my dog and I captured a picture of a very, very big scat, what you guys like to call it. And I took a picture of it because it was so big. I would never take a picture of species otherwise, but this was so shocking that I had to take a picture, and I started to wonder what was out in my woods. This was before the Bigfoot encounter. And when I've taken my dog out there, on an occasion, we were walking through the woods, walking back out, trying to make it out of the trail, and my dog would not continue to move. Like something was in the way. Like I don't know what it was. I didn't see anything. Granted, the woods are so crowded that you really can hide. Like anything could hide out there, and I wouldn't see it. My dog, I had to physically like force him out. I'm pulling him, and he's just like pushing back and not letting me. I'm pulling him by the collar. He wouldn't move. And this dog loves his walk. I've never had any issue having to drag him out of or into, outside. So the UFO encounter started a couple of years back. I was on the phone, again, on the phone outside, just kind of looking at the stars and hanging out on my back deck. And I'm talking to my nephew on the phone. And I'm really not noticing this for an idiot amount of time. There was this long bluish green line. I want to say it's like this shaped. If you could, it's just this long shape. And it was blue and green, like blue greenish over my trees back there and behind over the woods. And as I'm looking at it, I realized this thing has been sitting up over those trees for a long time. And I go, what is that? I couldn't believe that I hadn't noticed it before. But I get up, I come inside, and I say to my fiance, you have to come out here. This is really weird. This thing is just sitting up there and I have no idea what it is. So he comes out, and when he comes out, of course, it's already leaving. And he does catch the tail end, and he's like, yeah, that was weird. Was it a drone? And I'm like, there's no way. I don't think so, but it was really long. It was really big over the trees. I don't think that there's a drone that could do that. But I don't know today's technology. So I'm just kind of speculating at this point. And then we stick around longer, and I kind of have this feeling like it's going to come back, and I don't know what it is. Like I get a lot of these feelings often, and I'm having this feeling like it's going to come back, and I feel it in my chest, and I say, wait, don't leave. I feel like it's going to come, because he doesn't stay out long. He's just like, all right, I'm going back to play my PC game or whatever it is he's going to do. And I'm just like, just wait a couple of more minutes. And he waits, and lo and behold, within like a minute, this thing is coming back at crazy speeds. I also have recordings of these lights, these weird changing color lights, which I consider to be UFO. I don't know if it's American technology. I really couldn't say, but it is really strange. And the things that it's done are very strange. So they come back. On this particular night, they come back. And again, it's kind of later. I want to say the first encounter with this UFO started around 8 o'clock at night. And it was finally over like 35 minutes later. But we didn't feel like it lasted that long, which was really strange. And I recorded some of it. But when it came back over and it's doing weird things and you can't hear anything, it's like coming over us and there was no sound to it. There was no drone sound. It was a very quiet and still night. You could hear us on the recording asking ourselves, like, what is this thing? And then at one point, when it comes really up over us and close to us, it starts doing this pulsating light thing. And that freaks us out. And I'm recording as it's getting closer. But then at one point, something was just like, don't be an idiot recording this. And kind of in a way, like being distracted to what could be happening around you. Just, focus on what's going on. So we're standing on the deck and we're looking up at this thing and the light just gets brighter and brighter to the point where it's pretty much blinding. And I noticed that I feel, what is the right word? The darkness. It's like, I start to feel, it's a weird sense of anxiety that's more spiritual than anything to me. And it's my spirit is feeling shaken. And as I'm looking at this light, something says to me, don't look at it. So I put my head down and I start to look around me as I'm looking around me, I start to notice that everything seems kind of hazy in a weird way. I look in front of me towards like my backwoods and directly in front of me, see, it looks a little bit hazy. So I feel like I'm looking through something. And right then, as I'm thinking we should go inside, something says to me, don't turn around and don't leave him outside alone. And it was speaking on behalf of my fiance. He was so engrossed with this thing. He was looking straight at it, just completely like gone to the world. And I looked at him, I look back up and I look back down quickly, and I'm just compelled to pray. So I start to pray, and it starts to like do this weird blinking that just feels very antagonizing. And when I start to pray out loud, my fiance grabbed my arm, which is very unlike him, grabbed my arm roughly and says, don't stop it. And he's still staring straight ahead. I don't even know how he grabbed my arm. This is the weirdest, but he's looking straight ahead, grabs my arm and says, don't stop it. And that's where I knew something was very wrong. I just thought something very weird is going on. So I sat down and I said, in the name of Jesus Christ, I sit here with authority and I will not be moved. And a little seconds later, it starts to slow down, it starts to move away, and it stops blinking altogether. When it goes, it leaves with such speed that there's no way this is a drone. There's no way that it's like it leaves the atmosphere when it left. Like it just, you can see it, and then gone. Like it just very tiny gone. That was a very strange, that one messed me up for weeks. This one was something that, UFO is something that I don't mess with. The UFO is one of those things that I'm very afraid of because there's so little known about it. But there's in the biblical sense, there's a lot known about it, and it's very sinister and insidious, and just I don't like to mess around with it. So we continue to see lights. I saw on a different occasion, the lights were not blue, but it was like a light purple type of color, and it was going, it's sitting there for a long, I can send you the videos. It was sitting for a long time over that same patch of woods and then it starts moving again, and then it disappears like that too. And this one was just kind of like it just shut off, like it was no longer there. The other one was they would just kind of go far away and disappear. So I thought there's something very strange going on here. Oh, and not to mention when I was sitting in front of my I'm so sorry. I have to backtrack a little bit. But when we were having the UFO encounter and I was praying sitting down, I heard, this is so crazy. I'm sitting, and across my table on the deck, I'm hearing what sounds like rough breathing, which I know it sounds crazy, and maybe I am crazy. I'm not sure. I don't know what to account this to, but directly in front of me where it looked, where I thought before what looked like kind of hazy, I'm sitting now, right at that point, I'm sitting down, and I hear breathing across the table. Very strange. This one really freaked me out. I was even afraid of leaving my door for a while, leaving my door open too long in case something could come in. And I wouldn't see it. It's just that kind of strangeness, that kind of fear that is about things that are unexplainable. I had never encountered anything like that. I didn't know, something that I couldn't see, but I heard. So as the UFO, the Bigfoot stuff is going on, I just thought the noises I'm hearing is probably aliens. There's some kind of creature out there, maybe got left behind. I had no idea what I was working with until I finally saw what might have been a Bigfoot family. And that's there's a lot. I mean, there are so many things. I have the recordings of the vocalizations. I have after I had seen Bigfoot out there, the continual days, it was a lot of fog and haze and mist around. It was a very strange winter. And that's one of the things that I had also seen was I kept thinking that I'm seeing the shadow of like a man standing in my yard behind where my trees are. And I just wasn't sure what I was looking at. So I also recorded that. And I just don't know if it's pareidolia. Like sometimes I just don't know if I can believe what I'm seeing because I've seen the actual thing. And so whenever I think I'm seeing something, but I don't see the concrete, like huge figure right before my eyes walking and moving, I just don't know what to believe. So I have all of these things. I have recordings, I have pictures, there's just so many things that have happened. And you can only imagine there's things that have happened that I have recordings of, and then there's the things that have happened that I don't. And it's been a very bizarre 6 years living here. I live in Millbury, Massachusetts. Very kind of small town. It's close to a city, but I am bordering Sutton, which is all woods. I recommend to people all the time to go to the Purgatory Chasm out here. It's absolutely a beautiful place to walk in, but it can be spooky. I don't like to go anytime where it's nearing dusk to take hikes. I believe that they might be in this location hiding, Bigfoot hiding, because there are so many places they can hide there. There are such large pines. There's the chasm. Oh, sorry, my dogs are playing. There are the chasms that have kind of these rock. They create a chasm with big boulders, and basically you can look through some of like what looks like caves. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's amazing. I recommend people to go. And maybe, who knows, you'll encounter a Bigfoot. But yeah, that's as for my UFO and Bigfoot encounters. If you have any other, if you have any questions, that's pretty much our.
I still want to hear about that Dogman encounter.
Oh, the dog. Oh my gosh, my UFO and Bigfoot. Yes, the dog one as well, the Dogman. So I'm so sorry, Daniel. I forgot.
No, you're perfectly good. I am. Oh my god. Yeah, I got questions, but I can. I'll wait until after I hear this too.
Okay, very cool. So I really think I was about 18, 19, but it could have been sooner. I'm 33 now. It's been a very long time. I tell that to everybody, like it's been decades. But I was late teens going ghost hunting. We would record like EVPs and do fun things like this in very haunted places, which I believe are really just very dark places we would seek out with a lot of demonic activity. And one of the places we had gone to this was the first time I had been there. This was a cemetery in a town bordering Ayer, but I have to look up. I don't remember. I don't know if it's Everett or it's where an old military base is like out of service now. It's abandoned, and we used to go out there and check that place out because it was abandoned and it was spooky and they said it was haunted. But then my friend with his group of friends took me to a cemetery nearby. The cemetery had small markers, nothing much to the cemetery, just a typical little cemetery that has maybe a couple hundred stones, and it's bordered by stone wall, those stacked up stone walls. We get there, we're exploring, and I separate myself from my group because they're kind of boisterous and they're excited and they're just teenagers having fun, but I wanted to capture something. I wanted to experience something. So I head further back to the corner of the cemetery's stone wall, and I'm just in front of this one stone, just saying things, trying to get any kind of activity, and I hear a growl. Now, this growl was rumbly, and it was more of I felt it more than I heard it. So when I feel it, I'm like, did I really hear that? I wasn't sure. So I start backing up because it immediately made me nervous. For one, I wasn't what I always cracked everything to be just demonic. Every time you hear anything like that, every time I experience things. So I thought it was just a demonic thing. So I'm backing up in a weird sense, knowing where it's coming from and just kind of knowing I need to distance myself. And I'm a bit afraid. So I'm stepping back, and I'm stepping back slowly so that as I'm going back to my friends, maybe I hear it again just to be sure and I'm not making something up. I'm about 4 steps back and I hear it again louder. And this time I know for sure it startles me, and I immediately have that sensation where I want to leave. There's you couldn't pay me to stay kind of thing. I just immediately felt very afraid. It was deep inside. I could feel the growl in my chest area and my stomach, and I thought it really scared me. So continue to step back, and I don't want to give my back, but I want to walk fast, and I just turn around and zip line to my group. When I make it over to them, I say, "Hey, I'm getting a little nervous. I think I think I had mentioned I heard a growl, and I don't know, it made me nervous." And they were like, "All right, like let's get out of here." And they all agreed at the same time, "Yeah, I'm ready to move on." And I thought, interesting. I don't know if it's because they were done with the place or if they felt any kind of way. But we walk back to the cars. And when we walk back to the cars, there's 2 cars. There's a group of about 3 kids and a group of about 3 other kids, myself included. And we are all kind of dispersed, one group and another group talking and kind of agreeing, like, let's head to McDonald's next or wherever we're going next. And I have that strong sensation, like when somebody's looking at you and you just feel it and you look directly at it or the person. So I have the sensation, I look over, And I'm staring deadlocked with something, trying to figure out what it is for a good amount, what I consider a good amount of time in that situation, which is for me like 30 seconds. I'm looking at these red glowing eyes that I did not know were glowing eyes for a moment. So I'm locked in looking and I'm like, what is that? I'm just trying to figure out what this is. And I really thought, I laugh at this every time I say it because to me it's goofy, but I literally thought in my head, are there shiners in the woods? Like, what is that? It's like bright red, but there's nothing that really looks, I'm trying to figure out what this thing is. So as I'm looking at it and it starts to move this way, I'm seeing that the eye is it's kind of getting covered. So now I know I'm looking at an actual being and I'm seeing the face and the ears. And what I first saw was the ears, because in like the background is not as dark as what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing ears up here, and as it's turning, that's when I start to see that it's not like a flat person's face or anything. It's a snout. It's like that, and it's outwards. And back then, I had no idea what this was. Back then, there was no name to it. I couldn't title it in any way. There was no explaining it away for myself. The only explanation I had was demonic. I thought it was just an ancient demonic being I was seeing that's not flesh and bone. But as it's turning away, I remember distinctly seeing the body of muscle, the shoulders, muscle, and the body of a standing upright person. So the way I explain it to people is that the Dogman is very different in the sense that their bodies are more, they're muscular in a way that's, I call it a teenage like buff kid. They're stripped muscle, very big shoulders, and the muscle, the biceps are very, like, you can see the muscle. It's clearly there. It's not as big as Bigfoot though. Bigfoot is mass. It's bodybuilder type. It's huge, just hunched type of muscle. And with Dogman, it's standing up, like you could see it as it's turning like that. And it was turning so slow that I tell this to people too. It's the way that he was turning was deliberately slow. Like he's looking at me for so long. And then he notices, I don't know what it is that he notices, but I went, what is that? And my friends all turned and they're like, and they saw the red eyes and they're like, what is that? And so everybody was just asking, what is that? And it's turning so deliberately slow that I thought, it does not care about anyone or anything. This thing knows it's powerful. This thing is not afraid of us. This thing isn't running away. It's not sprinting away. It's not quickly escaping us. It's just very deliberately walking slow. And I could see all of its muscle turning. And it was very, I wish that I could, because I look different. I can't describe the way this thing walked and moved, but I am always impressed by the way these things move. I'm always impressed by their sheer size and, of course, their frightening way of being. But it's the way they move that is very impressive to me. And this one in particular was very muscular and very thin, stripped muscular, but muscular nonetheless. And I think that's what's impressive, that when you see images of a dog online that looks beefed up, you're like, that's impressive. This is a massive beast that is very impressive. It's quite incredible. This is the only way I can describe it, but it was walking away and I could see the shoulder just going like this. And as it was going sideways, that's where I see the mouth and all of its back turning away from me. And even its back had muscles like on the sides going down. And it's terrifying. I was left I think I didn't ghost hunt for a while after that, especially out in the wood. I really didn't go out in the woods for a long time after that. And I was always left with, what if I see this thing in my room? That's really what scared me. Because I always just thought it was a demonic ancient being that could just follow you, or, I didn't know anything about it. So I would go to bed at night thinking, what if I see the glowing eyes? What if I see the glowing eyes? I was terrified of that. Thank God I did not ever see it again. I have had sensations that feel the same, like something was there watching me. Um, Kind of that feeling like, go, 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 you need to get out of here. Other than that, I have not encountered Dogman ever since, and I thank the good Lord for it. They're very, very scary and completely unintimidated by any amount of people. Um, yeah, that's Dogman for you.
Holy smokes. Oh, these are notes.
Took you to school.
Wow. I mean, Josh was not kidding. Oh my goodness. He was not kidding. So let's start with Bigfoot here. So when you started describing the smell, I've heard that before, but the only one I haven't heard is like the old oil smell. And
Yep.
what do you think that is?
I've thought about this a lot because I've heard other stories. I'm sure you know that when you have had an experience, all you do for months is just look up people's encounters. I have
Yeah.
not heard it from anybody else. Oftentimes I hear that people don't smell anything at all. I have a feeling that there may be a portal near where I live. It may be active all the time. Maybe it's not active all the time. And I wonder what it's carrying with it when it goes through, because I don't know anybody else who has sensed that. Then I think maybe it's garbage. Maybe it's something in my woods that creates that smell. I couldn't tell you. But I did. The reason some people have this really bad idea of me believing that there's a portal nearby, and the reason I'll explain it today is because over those woods, on top of always seeing the UFO start there, I also witnessed a foggy, blue-looking, aura-looking thing above those trees receding down into it, and then it disappeared. So I've seen really weird things back there.
Yeah.
You know?
So how many acres of land do you own behind your house?
I don't own anything. I rent this apartment.
Okay.
But the acres of woods, it just goes on, and I really couldn't tell you because there's pond to my direct right of my house apartment, building. And then there's another pond right across, and there's lake, and there's woods just literally all around this area, this town. So it just goes on, including this is where people go hunting because there's what do you call those clubs, like the fishery type, the woods where people go hunting, and they call it like a
like
something,
wildlife management or
yeah, like
a
something
hunting
like
club,
that where
something
people
like that.
hmm
Yeah. So wildlife in the area,
a lot.
water source,
hmm Apple orchards all around.
and shelter,
hmm
and lots and lots and lots of woods.
Yes,
I mean,
a lot.
it's all prime habitat. It just really is.
Yeah,
So how old is your son, if you mind me asking?
he's 11.
Okay, so he was 11 years old when he saw it standing in the woods, just literally outside of the woods.
Yep, horrifying.
Um, how far away was he from it?
Um, I will send you a video so you can kind of see where the edge is.
Okay.
But I want to say it's half of a football field away,
So like 50 yards away.
50,
Okay.
60. I wish I really I think it's about that far. I
Okay.
could literally measure it. I could walk out there. I should have measured it.
Yeah.
But it's far enough that you cannot you for instance, when BFRO was out there, he was yelling out to me and he'd go, "What?" And I'd say, "Oh," and I'm yelling out to him. He's out in the woods.
Yeah.
But then when he came closer up to exactly where he was standing, I could hear him, but I could see his eyes and his mouth and stuff, but it's not clear definition. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's just it's far enough away that you can see every detail in color and stuff, but not perfect detail in I
Right.
have not great vision, so my eyesight, like I couldn't see a person, let's say, frowning instead of
Right.
well, actually I could see somebody smiling. That's not
You
true.
you could
Um,
see it, but you just couldn't see in high definition. Like you couldn't see
right.
like you and I are looking at each other right now.
Yeah. But
So yeah.
the Bigfoot was huge though.
Yeah.
So you could see more if you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Yep. 100%. How long was the sighting between with your son and you involved? About how long was it?
Between him going down, coming up, and me going out, coming back, and seeing the little one too,
Yeah,
or just the big one.
the big one.
Okay, the big one lasted about a minute.
Wow. Okay.
Because when I went back out, he had already come up, he had already seen it. He came up, he's screaming, I'm not getting what he's saying. He's like, come, like he's telling me, and then I'm walking out, I see it, it starts to like it's turning already and gone.
Like
Maybe
it has no time for you. He's not worried about you at all. He made his presence known. He walked away, and then you saw the smaller one that ran from tree to tree. How wide of a distance between each tree was it?
when I went out there, it's wider than I thought.
Yeah.
Because I ended up going back there to see what it is they see. And you can look straight to my house.
Mm-hmm.
The trees were when I'm out there, when I was looking through my window, it looked like maybe 4 feet, but it's really like twice that long when
Okay.
you're out there.
And
Mhm.
it moved between trees in like 1 or 2 steps.
In like 3 steps. It
Yeah,
was
that's
just like
crazy.
1, 2, 3 across.
Okay. So now you say you kept hearing noises, and I don't have any examples of the noise that you're describing, but have you heard any vocalizations like this? Let's see here. Have you heard that?
I have, and I was out there one night after the encounter, and I'm sorry, do you mind if I tell you this one too?
No, go ahead.
All right. I was out there also sitting one night, and this was about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. I have to look at the date on the video. But I'm just hearing what sounds like an owl. So I'm listening to the owl, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to record this because I never hear an owl, and I want to show it to my fiance who's not home. He's a trucker, so he's never home.
Mhm.
He is, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
And I wanted to start recording, and of course he calls me right then. So when he's calling, I hear a loud, like this screaming, raspy yell. And I panicked. And then it does one more, and I go, oh my gosh, I got to record this. So I clicked end and I start to record, and you get the tail end of that sound. But then there's like barking, and then it goes, oh, or like it does this weird sound. And I thought, do coyotes scream the way that I heard? I have no idea. I know that the ending sounds like it, but the beginning 2 screams were not coyote at all. It's
Alright,
not.
have you heard this sound?
I think I have. Actually, we've thought before that it was weird, like music from a very distant place. And we thought, where is that coming from? And then it just turns into these long-winded, like singing almost.
Okay, how about this then? Let's see if this is the one. Hold on.
That
No?
I haven't heard. Mm-mm.
That's my co-host. She recorded that.
Wow.
And they believe it's a female singing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
How about
sing a lot, and I sometimes wonder if they hear it and like it.
oh I'm a firm believer they love music. How about this one? Have you heard anything like let's see, I think it's this one here. Now, the last part of that were coyotes kicking off.
That's what I was gonna say. I heard the screaming and then I heard the barking.
Yep.
But those sounds, I have not heard the singing or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I have heard similar ones, not like those where it's a lot of them. I've heard what sounds like kind of one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I just recently on Sunday heard ones that were like that, one at a time. And my fiance heard him. And then later, a few minutes later, my son and my neighbors downstairs heard it.
Okay. How about this? This is a really good friend of mine took this one, and he captured this one out of Oklahoma. And this is from an area that he calls Area 51 of Oklahoma. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
I heard. Ooh, that's a different sound.
Have you heard the classic whoop?
I wish that I could have shown you the recording that I have, because it's a very sharp one. The first one you hear is a very sharp one, but the classic, no. And we've done them to see if they'll do it, but we haven't heard them. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So those are my questions with the Bigfoot. Let's go to the Dogman. Could you give me a little more description of what, like, did you get a good enough description of it or a good view of it to what when you walked off, what its legs look like?
No.
Okay.
His legs I did not see very well at all, because I was mostly looking at his head. That's what freaked me out, because his eyes were glowing.
Okay. Now, I don't have any pictures of anything with eyes glowing, but I do have this picture. Now, this picture has made the rounds a lot. I don't know if you've seen this picture, but take a look at this picture.
Yeah. That's the shape of a dogman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's that. So now we're going to go on to the UFO. So when you and your fiance are up looking at this thing, okay, he catches the tail end of it. It caught his attention enough for him to make a comment like, "Oh, okay, that was weird." And then you're in tune somehow, and you're like, "Wait a minute, it's I feel it's going to come back." And sure enough, it comes back.
Yeah.
And now you said he's up, pretty much looked like he's starstruck looking at this thing.
Yeah.
And you start praying,
Mhm.
and you hear him say, "Don't stop it." and he
Mhm.
grabbed you. Did it sound like him?
It did. But a different angry. He's a very cool, chill person all the time. I never see this person upset. He's very laid back. He's go with the flow. He was agitated. His voice was different sounding. But it was his voice.
Okay. So yeah, he was aggravated. Okay.
Yeah, and
And
this guy, mind you, he's like all NASA. He's very scientific and factual and analytical. So we're very different species, he and he agreed that this was very bizarre, strange, not normal, mundane experience.
yeah, that's now my final thing is the orb. Okay. So you gave us a description about how big around was it?
I'm gonna do it with my hands, and this was in the woods, so it might have been even bigger.
Okay.
But what I thought the size is
So about the size of a basketball.
bigger than a
Bigger.
basketball.
It's like
Yeah.
a medicine ball almost.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And now when it was moving, was it like kind of moving in a awkward or sporadic way, or was it just slowly moving across?
Dude, it was just going across, zooming across like this. Literally
Wow.
that speed.
Wow.
And I didn't want to take my eyes off it because I had never seen anything like that. So I just took it all in and I could see every single detail. It was a big yellow ball.
Mhm.
Like that was shining.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I mean, I know I can relate with you on pretty much everything except for the Dogman because I've never seen one.
Mhm.
With Bigfoot, I was probably 15 to 20 feet away from one when I was 12 years old.
Man.
It was a female. It was my dad lit her up with the headlights and the driving lights of his car as we were driving down or driving home down a gravel road. And yeah, so I got a really good look at her. And not only did my dad and I see her, but they also visited our camper that we were living in because my dad was building a house on this property. Not only her, but we believe there were 2 or 3 other ones that visited us as well that
Your
night.
dad didn't see her?
No, my dad did see her.
Oh, I thought you said your dad didn't. Oh my
No,
God.
my dad and I both saw her. So, and then we come to find later on, maybe, I don't know, a month or so after that, my little brother had interactions with 2 juveniles that were on our property. Yeah.
It's always the kids.
Yeah.
These kids, the juveniles like kids.
But my brother and I, we didn't feel threatened at all. We lived there for about a year and we didn't feel threatened at all. I mean, I was scared when I first saw it. And then we always had the heebie-jeebies as we were walking down to the bus stop at the end of this gravel road. We felt that it was like a 5-mile walk, but it wasn't. It's probably maybe a mile and a half.
A child's perception.
Yeah, but there was no lights on this gravel road. The only light that was on you could consider on this road was at the end of the gravel road where it met the pavement. And so this whole gravel road, it was so black that you could put your hand in front of your face. You couldn't see your own hand. And it's just yeah, we just felt like we were being watched or something was
Yes.
following us. And this happened, you know, before we ever saw them.
Yeah.
So we always felt that something was on the right side of the road or something was on the left side of the road, and so
Something spooky you just couldn't put your
Yeah.
finger on.
and
Mhm.
so we lived in a rural area, so we had that bus route that, instead of normal kids having maybe like a 35 or 40-minute bus ride, ours was like an hour and a half, 2 hours because we had to go all over this area. So my brother
Oh,
and I,
man.
we were up at 4 in the morning and then out the door
Jeez.
at like 4:45.
Oh my God. And winter days must have been so dark.
Well, this is up in Washington State, so but yeah, it was definitely dark. It was definitely dark. But yeah, I mean, I've had my encounters. Um, my brother and I, we were escorted out of the woods in Shelby County, Tennessee, and we were both hit with infrasound. Yeah.
What's that? I think I've heard it, but I don't really
So
remember what it
so
does.
big cats like tigers and lions and other elephants, they can use a thing called infrasound, and it stuns their prey. It's like an energy that's projected from them somehow, whether it's through a roar or whatever. And it
I just got
when
chills.
when it when it hit me and my brother, it hit him first, and he's a big boy. He was like 6'2", 6'3", over 300 pounds, and it almost dropped him to his knees. He had tightness in his chest, his massive headache. He felt like he was going to throw up. Me, I probably weighed 170 pounds, 5'9". And when it hit me, I did drop to my knees and I almost threw up. I was dry heaving my mouth. I had just massive amounts of saliva coming out of my mouth, massive headache, massive tightening in my chest. Yeah. And just my both our equilibriums were all out of whack. But it hit him first. I helped him up, kind of brought him back too. And probably about 10, 15 minutes later, boom, I got popped by it. And yeah, it was.
Can I ask you if there's mild versions of that? Because I've had something that seems similar, but I wasn't sure.
I'm not an expert, so I don't know. I mean, I've heard people getting hit by infrasound, and like it taking their legs away from them, meaning they can't move their legs.
They can't move. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I mean,
I can't even imagine that.
yeah, it's pretty intense, and I didn't really realize that it was infrasound until years later, because everything that happened to me was prior to the internet. So it started, I once the internet came around and I started looking into things and I made my own little checklist and I said, okay, I just wrote a bunch of things, put little
Mm.
boxes next to them, and I'm like, yep, this. So I later found out that I had experiences like when I was like 6 or 7 with cryptids. And it stopped
Wow.
when I was 20 in 1992.
Why
That
do
was
you
the
think it
last time,
stopped?
because I don't go back in the woods. If I
Okay.
do, I stay on a defined path, a paved path, one that's already there. I do not walk off that path. I do
Yeah,
not go
same.
trailblazing anymore. Um, and so that's why it's all stopped. Paranormal for me, on the other hand, I've had paranormal as long back as I can remember.
Hmm.
And when I say like 4 or 5 years old,
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
paranormal stuff.
I
UFO
believe it.
sighting, I had one when I was 17, and that's the only time I've had it. So,
What did you see?
a flying saucer.
I've seen one too.
I'll tell you off camera. I'll tell you, because
Okay, awesome.
this is all about you.
That's
This
awesome.
is not about
Because
me.
I've never met anybody else who saw one,
Oh yeah,
like the metal one.
I'll tell you.
Wow.
So let me ask you this now, because we're coming up over an hour, and I want to go ahead and talk to you off camera. But
Awesome.
so with this, so stay in the lobby. But before we end this, what do you think Bigfoot is, in your opinion?
I believe that they are from a long line of descendant Nephilim hybrids. I believe that I view things like Josh said it perfectly the other day. I saw him in the video, like say, through a biblical lens. That's the way that I view life. That's the way I see the supernatural, or the things that are more than meets the eye out in these woods, the things that everybody keeps experiencing and people don't believe because they're not out in the woods. But I think that they are very close to human, and that is why we see so many family engagements. And you don't really see, if you see, I hear a lot of stories where, and people say if you see one, there's more than that one, there's usually others nearby. So I know that there's this like family feel to them. That can also be very what's the word? Mm.
Coincidental?
That what?
Coincidental?
No, not coincidental. It can be misleading. It can make
Misleading?
you feel safer than they really are.
Yeah.
I think that they're more than willing to take people and adopt them into their fold, but I don't think it's a safe thing. I've heard stories. So yeah, I think that they're a parent of some type of supernatural being that can come in and out of our realm. I don't think they all can do it. I think that there's specific special ones that have certain things in their lineage, maybe something having to do with that. And I definitely believe that there's some that have a more demonic, aggressive nature to them.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's just what I believe.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so
And
much for having me.
if you will just hang out in the green room or the lobby, whatever you want to call it, I'll pop back on there and I'll tell you a couple things and show you a
Awesome.
couple
Thanks so
stuff.
much.
All right.
Cool.
All righty. You guys, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Is it okay? Sienna. No. Senna. Okay.
Cenia.
Cenia, that's it. Cenia. Okay, I got you. Cenia. So Cenia, thank you so much for coming back on the show. And you guys, again, thank you so much for coming on. And look, I put her on the camera. I'm trying to, you guys, I got my mind going a million different things. So you guys, so again, thank you so much for coming on the show and supporting the show. Remember, you got 4 more days to enter the drawing for this hat. Look, kind like I'm wearing. It's $2.99 a month. And I'll be picking the winner and be doing it on a live with one of these little randomizers. And as soon as you guys win, I'll announce the winner, and then the winner goes ahead, sends me their address and stuff, and I'll get that sent out to you. But my buddy Josh always says, you guys remember, stay prayed up. And if you guys have had an encounter and you'd like to come on the show, please shoot me an email at the Cryptid Podcast 72@gmail.com. And I can't get off of here without saying this. Remember, you guys, a legend always begins with a sighting. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?